for today's practice, again, welcome everybody. For today's practice, I have a book that I want to read you a little bit from, and it's a book by Pema Chödrön, or you will like that. She's a Buddhist nun, and she has written many beautiful books. The most famous one probably When Things Fall Apart. This book is The Wisdom of No Escape. And I love right now that I have my shelf with books, and many of these books I've only started reading or wanted to read, and now I have all the time in the world to go through these books, and I make it a practice to pick a book and open it and see what I can share. And I grabbed this book, kind of Talk to Me. And this book is about saying yes to life, about making friends with ourselves and our world, and about accepting the delightful and painful situation of no exit. It exhorts us to wake up wholeheartedly to everything and to use the abundant, richly textured fabric of everyday life as our primary spiritual teacher and guide. What a wonderful book in this time. So you probably see it the other way around. The Wisdom of No Escape, Pema Chödrön. I'm happy to share that in the chat too. And then I opened it to see which chapter I would want to share, and the one that I really resonated with was the chapter of renunciation. And for those of you in maybe German language, I wasn't really clear what exactly renunciation means. It means Verzicht, verzichten, renunciation. So for today's practice, I'll be reading you from this book. But I'd like to start in a nice comfortable seat with a little breathing meditation. So get comfortable. Close your eyes and take the next few moments to arrive in your space and just kind of connecting to what is going on right now, this moment. So become aware of the space, how you're sitting. If there's anything maybe you want to change, maybe you need more props, maybe you feel really calm, really comfortable. So just take a little snapshot. And it's almost like you're looking at yourself from above and get this image of yourself sitting in a comfortable seat. You're also welcome to lean against the wall or to be comfortable in any way. And then let your hands rest in any way that's appropriate right now. I like to always place them into my lap, or you can also place them onto your knees, your thighs. Just make sure your shoulders can relax. And then consciously begin to soften your whole body. Start from your forehead, softening the wrinkles of your forehead. And let the eyes fall back into the sockets. Soften your cheeks. Your jaw is relaxed. Let your tongue relax. And feel like your head is floating above the neck. You can maybe even wiggle it a little bit. And if you notice that your head is leaning forward, lean it back a little bit more. So there's a sense of lightness here. And then let the shoulders melt down further away from your ears. Check in with your heart space. See what's going on for you today. What is the main emotion right now that you feel? And like in meditation, everything is welcome. So don't try to push anything away that comes up during this practice. See if you can really be in a place of not wanting to shift or control your experience. And relax your belly, your legs. And begin to connect to your breathing and just feel the breath gently going in and out of your body. So there's a sweetness, a softness to your breath. Doesn't need to be your deepest breath yet. Just enjoying the flow of your breath. And I want to do a little breathing pranayama with you to begin our practice today, which is very balancing and calming. And it's a visual breathing exercise, and it's alternate nostril breathing, but we're not using our hands to block off any nostril. So let's take a nice big breath in together and exhale. Now visualize your inhale going up through your left nostril, crossing over the bridge of your nose, and then feel your exhale descending through your right nostril. And then inhale, feel the breath going in through the right nostril, crossing over the bridge of the nose. And as you exhale, let the breath descend through your left nostril. And then inhaling through the left, exhaling right. And keep going in your own rhythm. Couple more rounds and just stay focused to visualize the breath. So if you notice your mind starts moving away from your breathing, bring yourself back when you catch yourself to this nice steady flow of breath through the nostrils. And as you're just observing this flow through the nostrils, maybe you become aware of the point above the bridge of your nose, your third eye, space between the eyebrows. This is a place of wisdom, and it's nice to maybe visualize a bright point of light here. And when you focus on this point, you also become aware of yourself as the observer. You are observing yourself now, breathing. And so as we do the practice of Yin or any meditation practice, this is really where we want to go. We want to be in the role of the observer, watching us having whatever experience it is that we are having. Not getting attached to the pleasant ones or the not so pleasant ones, and just kind of allowing it all to just move through us. Next time you exhale through the left nostril, you can release the observation of the breath and just come back to your natural breathing. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart and rub your palms together. A little bit of heat. Place it anywhere on your body where you feel you could use a little extra warmth, attention, care, nourishment today. And just be aware of the warmth, your healing powers in your own hands. And just enjoy this little sweet connection to your hands. And then release, bring your palms back together in front of your heart. Now touch your thumbs to your heart. Maybe take a moment here and feel your heartbeat. And then let's begin with one soft sound of Om. So a Yin sound of Om. Nice big breath in. Om. And then slowly release your hands. Gently open the eyes. Good. More people joining late. Good. All right. Now let's find your comfortable feet. I'm going to lock the meeting now. Moving back. I have my phone as a timer, so don't worry about time. And for our first pose, we're going to come into half butterfly, half straddle pose. So please take your left foot in, move back a little bit more. Left foot inside your right thigh. Your right leg is completely relaxed. So you just let your right foot fall out to the side. Take any props you may need. Inhale to lengthen and then walk your hands over to your right leg and then come forward. And I recommend placing a block underneath your forehead because, you know, your head weighs a lot. And if you don't support your head, it can be a little bit too much for your neck. And of course, if you need more props, anything goes. You can make yourself as high as you need to. So the flow we're doing today is going to focus a little bit on the spine and all the different movements of the spine. I'm going to put the timer. So for this one, you're going to feel a gentle stretch or sensation in the left side of your spine. And again, remember, we want to be somewhere between point A and B, feeling sensation, but not feeling any kind of pain. And also, as we hold these poses for like 3 to 4 minutes average, remember that eventually the more you sink into the pose, the deeper your experience is going to be, or sensation, let's call it. And after about a minute or so, which is about now, you want to resolve to stay in the pose and not to move. And the only times you move is if it gets really painful. You don't want pain. So, but as you sink into your breathing, try to remain completely still and focus on your breathing. The breath is always a beautiful tool to get you deeper and to keep you there whenever your mind wants to play with you and take you on a little journey. And I'm going to start reading from the book of Pema Chödrön about renunciation. It's probably good to think of the ground of renunciation as being our good old selves, our basic decency and sense of humor. In Buddhist teachings and in the Shambhala teachings, as well as in the teachings of many other contemplative or mystical traditions, the basic view is that people are fundamentally good and healthy. It's as if everyone who has ever been born has the same birthright, which is enormous potential of warm heart and clear mind. The group of renunciation is realizing that we already have exactly what we need, that what we have already is good. Every moment of time has enormous energy in it, and we could connect with that. You can stay another minute in the pose, feel it with your breathing. Good. And we have 30 more seconds here. So the last 30 seconds, make it your biggest breath. And somebody is still unmuted. I don't see who it is, but if you have your microphone on, can I kindly ask you to please unmute yourself, mute yourself. And you can do so by the bottom left microphone. Good, last 3 breaths here. And then press down to slowly come back up and open your left leg out to the side and just for a moment release, and you can swing your legs a little bit side to side. Good, there's always a little moment of transition in between, so don't ever rush it. Just feel the release of the pose. And then when you feel ready for the other side, please bring your right foot inside your left thigh. Your left leg is falling out to the side. And you're gonna sit tall and kind of walk your hands over to your left leg. And then fold forward here again, finding your way. See how far you can go. And you will feel the stretch now in the right side of your body, and the right lower back, most probably. Breathe here. And so, as always, the first minute or so is your time to connect to the pose, to find your edge, to feel maybe the lines of energy, while I continue to read from the book. I was recently in a doctor's office that had a poster on the wall of an old Native American woman walking along a road, holding the hand of a little child. And the caption read, "The seasons come and go. Summer follows spring, and fall follows summer, and winter follows fall. And human beings are born and mature, have their middle age, begin to grow older and die, and everything has its cycles. Day follows night, night follows day. It is good to be part of all of this." When you begin to have that kind of trust in basic creativity and directness and fullness, in the alive quality of yourself and your world, then you can begin to understand renunciation. Renunciation is realizing that our nostalgia for wanting to stay in a protected, limited, pity world is insane. Once you begin to get the feeling of how big the world is and how vast our potential for experiencing life is, then you really begin to understand renunciation. When we sit in meditation, we feel our breath as it goes out, and we have some sense of willingness just to be open to the present moment. Then our mind wanders off into all kinds of stories and fabrications and manufactured realities. And we say to ourselves, it's thinking. We say that with a lot of gentleness and a lot of precision. Every time we are willing to let the storyline go, and every time we are willing to let go at the end of the out-breath, that's fundamentally renunciation. Learning how to let go of holding on and holding back. One more minute to go. Feel it with your deep breathing. And then take your last 3 breaths, really nice big breath. And slowly walk your hands back. And once again, straighten both legs and just take a moment here, shaking out your legs. Okay. All right, take your hands behind your knees, bring your feet together and come into a squat just for a moment. So if you cannot be in a squat comfortably, place your block underneath or anything you can sit on. That's totally fine to be here. And for a moment, just walk your hands forward and just kind of relax and release. So we're not staying here long. This is just a transition. So let your head go. Visualize your spine, the biggest energy channel in your body. And take a couple of really nice deep breaths. Last breath. Good. And then walk your hands back and see if you can stand up, but keep your knees bent. And we're coming into the next pose, which is dangling pose. So 2 options. If you are okay with your neck and your back, there's no issues with your lower back, just let your chest rest onto your thighs and let your arms go. You could even hold onto your elbows. We're gonna be here for 3 minutes. And you can just hang here and gently rock back and forth, eyes closed, let everything go. Now, if this feels too much for your neck or your back, the modification is to bring the elbows on the knee and to keep the head lifted and to just be here. So you're still working your lower back, you're still feeling your hamstrings, it's just a little softer. So you decide which way is right for you. And then again, after a minute or so, which is in a couple seconds, you just resolve to stay. So in general, if any time you feel something is too much or you get dizzy or a part of your body, your arm or your leg falls asleep, those are signs that you went too far and to back off. You can also do it actually with the block in front, placing your hands on the block is another way to do it. Just make sure you're like relaxing your chest. And just listening, feeling your breathing. And all the sensations are welcome. Let go of any wanting to control your experience. What also feels really nice here is to exhale through the mouth. You can do that anytime. Last 30 seconds. And again, if you're a visual person like I am, I always love to visualize all these energy channels, meridians, however you want to call them, nadis in my body, and to feel the flow of energy, sense of aliveness. Good. Take one more big breath, exhale through the mouth, and then release your hands to the floor if they're not there already. Walk them a little bit forward and walk your feet back. So you are coming into downward facing dog, and just stretch out your legs. Yeah, bend one knee, press the other heel down. This should feel really, really good. And then bend both knees, stick your butt all the way up high. And inhale to come forward. As you exhale now, come all the way down onto your belly for the next pose, which is gonna be Sphinx Pose. So for Sphinx Pose, very important, let your feet fall out to the side. So you're not engaging your legs, you're not squeezing your buttocks. So everything completely relaxed. You just rock a little bit back and forth. If you can, your elbows are underneath your shoulders and you're kind of melting your heart down. What feels nice is to put a pillow underneath the ribs because it gives you a little bit of support. If it's too much like this and you feel too much sensation in your lower back, you can soften the pose by walking your elbows a little bit more forward. If you feel this is easy for you, and you can do a deeper stretch, then at any time feel free to come into seal pose, in which case you would bring your hands a little wider than the mat, straighten your arms and come a little bit higher like this. Your head is looking straight up, not down, so your neck is relaxed, but make sure the shoulders are melting. Close the eyes and find your pose. The river flows rapidly down the mountain, and then all of a sudden it gets blocked with big boulders and a lot of trees. The water can't go any further, even though it has tremendous force and forward energy. It just gets blocked there. That's what happens with us too. We get blocked like that. Letting go at the end of the out breath, letting the thoughts go, is like moving one of those boulders away so that the water can keep flowing, so that our energy and our life force can keep evolving and going forward. We don't, out of fear of the unknown, have to put up these blocks, these dams that basically say no to life and to feeling life. A little bit more than a minute to go. Stay connected to your breath, to the sensation. And then take your last 3 breaths. And to release the pose, just gently come forward with your head resting on your hands and resist the urge of moving right away your back or releasing any sensation. Rather, if you feel a strong sensation in your lower back, breathe into it, but stay still. And then you can slowly begin to wiggle your hips. Bend the knees and gently swing your legs a little bit side to side. And then once you go to the left side, just let your feet kind of hang a little bit over to the left, which stretches your right groin. And then inhale to come up, exhale over to the right. And then inhale, come back to the middle. Place your hands next to your chest, push back up and open your knees nice and wide to come into child's pose. So in your child's pose, you can have your legs wide, your arms can reach forward. You could also place your hands together into a prayer and bring your hands behind your head. This feels nice on your armpits, on your shoulders. Or if you want to bring it more into your spine, you could also bring the knees together and just sit or round forward like this and let the shoulders hang with your arms next to your body. So now your spine is very round and you'll feel it more directly in the spine. Wherever you are, breathe. This is also just a transition pose. We'll take like 5 more big breaths here. And with your next inhale, slowly roll yourself all the way back up. Come to sit over to one side and straighten your legs in front of you. I'll actually turn around this way so I see you guys better on the computer. All right, so shake out your legs. Should feel really good. And we're coming into the next pose, which is caterpillar pose, a forward fold. So you can bring your feet a little bit apart or even as far as the edges of your mat, whatever feels good. I always like to have maybe 2 fists or something in between. And then you're gonna fold forward. And it's really nice when you have blocks. You can just rest your arms next to your body or on your legs, and your back can be completely round. Remember to let the feet fall out to the side so you're not engaging your legs. You feel the stretch along the back of your legs, but also it's a nice stretch for your lower back. It's okay if your lower back is round here. And another version could be placing the head into your hands. But it's actually really nice to be completely turning inward and rounding and folding forward. Caterpillar pose. And if it's not possible at all for you, because you cannot fold forward, you could lie on your back and bring your legs up a wall or a chair or somewhere. Like I could use this couch, which is the same pose, just in a more modified version. So then you would just be lying like this with your legs ideally resting against something. So the beauty of this practice is to really find what works for you. We're all different. So renunciation is seeing clearly how we hold back, how we pull away, how we shut down, how we close off, and then learning how to open. It's about saying yes to whatever is put on your plate, whatever knocks on your door, whatever calls you up on your telephone. How we actually do that has to do with coming up against our edge, which is actually the moment when we learn what renunciation means. There's a story about a group of people climbing to the top of a mountain. It turns out it's pretty steep, and as soon as they get up to a certain height, a couple of people look down and see how far it is, and they completely freeze. They had come up against their edge and they couldn't go beyond it. The fear was so great that they couldn't move. Other people tripped on ahead, laughing and talking, but as the climb got steeper and more scary, more people began to get scared and freeze. All the way up this mountain, there were places where people met their edge and just froze and couldn't go any further. The people who made it to the top looked out and were very happy to have made it to the top. The moral of the story is that it really doesn't make any difference where you meet your edge. Just meeting it is the point. Thirty more seconds. Big, big, big breath. And then taking your last 3 breaths. And with your 3rd breath, very slowly come back up out of the pose. And right away come to lie on your back. And as you lie on your back, take a moment here with your legs straight to just breathe into your belly. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just breathing. Fill up your belly like a big, big balloon and feel the space you're creating and just the nice quality of your breath. The difference when we consciously breathe to compare how we usually breathe without really thinking about it. Good. And then bend your knees. Move your hips over to the right edge of the mat. Take your legs over to the left corner of your mat. And without turning to the side, really being on your back, see if you can bring your right ankle to cross your left. I hope you can see. So we're not turning to the side. You really want to be lying on your back. If this is too much with the ankle crossing, you can have the legs next to each other. That's okay too. Then you're going to take your arms over your head and with your left hand, grab your right wrist and start moving your upper body all the way to the left. So you're making the shape of a banana. That's why this pose is called banana asana. You want to feel the stretch all along the front of your right side body. This is your gallbladder meridian. Feel it deeply with your breathing. This is one of the poses that actually you might not feel so much sensation until you start to breathe really deeply. I find it a very soothing pose. And you can, if your arm is too high and it gets uncomfortable, maybe place a blanket, block, or pillow underneath your arm or underneath your right leg if you need to. This is one of the poses. It could happen that your arm falls asleep. If that happens, then please adjust the pose. Life is a whole journey of meeting your edge again and again. That's where you're challenged. That's where, if you're a person who wants to live, you start to ask yourself questions like, now, why am I so scared? What is it that I don't want to see? Why can't I go any further than this? The people who got to the top were not the heroes of the day. It's just that they weren't afraid of heights. They are going to meet their edge somewhere else. The ones who froze at the bottom were not the losers. They simply stopped first, and so their lesson came earlier than the others. However, sooner or later, everybody meets his or her edge. When we meditate, we're creating a situation in which there's a lot of space. That sounds good, but actually it can be unnerving, because when there's a lot of space, you can see very clearly. You've removed your veils, your shields, your armor, your dark glasses, your earplugs, your layers and layers of mittens, your heavy boots. Finally, you're standing, touching the earth, feeling the sun on your body, feeling its brightness, hearing all the noises without anything to dull the sound. You take off your nose plug and maybe you're going to smell lovely fresh air. Or maybe you're in the middle of a garbage dump or a cesspool. Since meditation has this quality of bringing you very close to yourself and your experience, you tend to come up against your edge faster. It's not an edge that wasn't there before, but because things are so simplified and clear, you see it, and you see it vividly and clearly. Last 30 seconds here. And then take another big breath in. And as you exhale, start by releasing first your hands and then your legs. And just lie with your legs open, your arms over your head like a big starfish, and breathe. And when you feel ready for the other side, very slowly bend your knees, move your hips to the left edge of the mat. Bring your feet to the right edge of the mat. Cross your left ankle over your right, and then grab your left wrist and start walking your upper body over to the right. Now feeling this beautiful stretch along the left side of your body. Use any props you may need. Close the eyes and again sink into your deep breathing all along the left side of your body, feeling that line of the gallbladder meridian. Maybe you'll notice at this point also how it's easier for your body. It's almost like your body recognizes the poses. How do we renounce? How do we work with this tendency to block and to freeze and to refuse to take another step towards the unknown? If our edge is like a huge stone wall with a door in it, how do we learn to open that door and step through it again and again, so that life becomes a process of growing up, becoming more and more fearless and flexible, more and more able to play like a raven in the wind? If we understand renunciation properly, we will also serve as an inspiration for other people because of our hero quality, our warrior quality, the fact that each of us meets our challenges all the time. When somebody works with hardship in an open-hearted, humorous way like a warrior, when somebody cultivates his or her bravery, everybody responds because we know we can do that too. We know that this person wasn't born perfect, but was inspired to cultivate warriorship and a gentle heart and clarity. Whenever you realize you've met your edge, you're scared and you're frozen and you're blocked, you're able to recognize it because you're open enough to see what's happening. It's already a sign of your aliveness and the fact that you've shed a lot, that you can see so clearly and so vividly. Rather than think you've made a mistake, you can acknowledge the present moment and its teaching, or so we are instructed. You can hear the message, which is simply that you are saying no. The instruction isn't then to smash ahead and karate chop the whole thing. The instruction is to soften, to connect with your heart and engender a basic attitude of generosity and compassion towards yourself, the archetypal coward. Last 30 seconds here. And then take one more big breath. And begin to slowly release the pose by first releasing your arms and then your legs. Keep your arms over your head, your legs falling out to the side. And from here, slowly walk your feet back, bend your knees, and hug your knees into the chest and just rock a little bit back and forth. Should feel really good. You can take your hands onto your knees and make circles, moving the knees away from each other. And then moving the knees towards each other. Good. All right, and now we're coming into the last twist for the last pose for the spine, and it's a twist and two options. You can have the knees together, take your arms out to the side, inhale, and let your legs fall over to the left. It might feel really nice to place a pillow or a block between your knees or even below your knees. See what feels good. You can play with bringing the knees higher or lower. It'll affect a different part of your spine. Or if you want to have a deeper experience, you wrap your right leg over your left, move your hips 1 inch to the right, and then let them fall over to the left. And you can also, again, place a block here. Stretch your right arm out to the side, maybe up over your head. So you also add a nice stretch into the right chest, right upper shoulder. And remember, you'll be here for 3 minutes. So you want to make sure that you can hold the pose without causing too much stress on your body. The journey of awakening, the classical journey of the mythical hero or heroine, is one of continually coming up against big challenges and then learning how to soften and open. In other words, the paralyzed quality seems to be hardening and refusing, and the letting go or the renunciation of that attitude is simply feeling the whole thing in your heart, letting it touch your heart. You soften and feel compassion for your predicament and for the whole human condition. You soften so that you can actually sit there with those troubling feelings and let them soften you more. The whole journey of renunciation or starting to say yes to life is first of all realizing that you've come up against your edge, that everything in you is saying no, and then at that point, softening. This is yet another opportunity to develop loving kindness for yourself, which results in playfulness, learning to play like a raven in the wind. Such a nice book. One more minute to go. See if you can fill it with your deepest, deepest breath. And then take your last 3 breaths here on this side. Really nice, big, all the way down into the lower back kidneys. And then when you're ready, very, very slowly, bring your knees back into the middle and place your feet. And just for a moment, let the knees fall together and just rest here, breathe and feel. And then move the knees again, left and right. Hug them into your chest and choose which way you want to twist to the other side. Maybe just bringing the knees together, or if you want to do the twisted root version, now your left leg would go over your right. You would move your hip 1 inch to the left and then take your feet over, your knees over, and maybe use a block. And you can look straight up, or if you want, look over your left shoulder and also really feel the stretch in the top left chest. When you breathe deeply, you might feel a popping in your spine. That's a good thing. So don't worry about that. If something feels too intense, then allow yourself to back off a little. Your mind takes you on a journey. Remember, you can always come back to your breathing, but really feel this deep nourishment of this practice. Softening, letting go. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just to be here, fully experiencing this moment. Your breath, your body, your edge, your stories. Last 30 seconds here. And then take your last 3 breaths. And when you're ready, slowly unwind. Come back to the middle. Once again, place your feet here. Take a moment and just move your knees a little bit. Left and right, right and left. Good. And then hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit back and forth. Now for the last pose, I want to give you 2 options. One is the more advanced version. You would swing, and only please do this if you have no issues with your neck or your shoulders, and make sure when you do so, look straight up. And this pose would be snail pose. And you let your, like a shoulder stand, you let your knees drop next to your ears. So that's one option if that's comfortable for you. And then you can take your arms over your head to kind of hold onto your legs. Easier variation for most of us, I guess, would be to take your block or any prop, place it underneath your lower back, your sacrum, I should say. That's the triangular shaped bone at the end of your spine. You can place it flat. You can place it a little higher. And then from here, just lifting the legs up so that you are resting in like a supported shoulder stand kind of situation. And the knees can be bent. So you just want to let gravity work for you to release any tension from the lower back. It's really yummy. If you don't have any props, you can also just go against the wall and bring your legs up the wall. There's maybe a blanket underneath your sacrum just so that you have some kind of cushion or something to lift up that you can sink into. And close the eyes here. We're all just going to be for about a minute or so. Breathe consciously, release the weight onto the block. Or if your knees are next to your ears in seal pose. And just let the eyes close and just enjoy this being so totally closed and rolled together. And it's not called seal pose, it's called snail pose. Excuse me. I knew there was something wrong. Nice, big breath. If you're on the edge of the block, it also feels nice to very gently rock a little bit side to side. It's almost like the edge of the block is massaging your lower back. And then when you're ready, slowly bend the knees If you are in snail pose, very slowly unwind. So again, no rush, super important. And everybody find your way back onto your back. Once again, move the knees a little bit side to side, hug them in to your chest. For a moment, bring your forehead to your knees, make yourself very, very small and round. And then from here, please find your way into Shavasana, and you're welcome to roll up a mat underneath your knees, whatever feels good. And as you rest, let your palms face up, eyes closed. And sinking into your own breathing. And maybe again, focusing on that little bright light in your third eye, space between the eyebrows if you wish. Very slowly begin to deepen your breathing. Gently move your fingers, move your toes, stretch your arms over your head, give yourself a good long stretch. And then bend your knees and very gently rock a little bit back and forth, side to side. Release any tension from your lower back. And then roll over onto your left side, your yin side. And just stay here for a couple more moments. No rush. And then when you feel ready, use your hands to bring yourself back up into a nice comfortable seat. Keep the eyes closed. And as you're sitting tall, once again, take a little snapshot of yourself and just become aware of what may have shifted for you from this sweet practice. Notice how it feels for you to come up against your own edges. When you resist or when you allow the difference, and you surrender. Really something very beautiful about this practice to remind us not to try so hard, but sometimes the way to go forward or to move forward is by softening. That was a big lesson for myself. And place your left hand onto your heart. And for a moment, just honor whatever is present in your heart right now. Whatever feelings, thoughts, stories. Underneath it, feel your heart beating. And feel the warmth of your hands sinking into the heart. And then place your right hand on top of your left hand. And silently say to yourself, I love you. And then take your hands together in front of your heart for a moment of gratitude to yourself for showing up today, for choosing this path, even if it's not always the easiest one, to walk through life with consciousness, awareness, evolving, growing, and not turning away from your truth. And then let's close and seal our practice with one soft sound of Om, a Yin sound of Om. Nice big breath in. Om. And thank you again so much for showing up with me here for these beautiful sessions. I'm really, really touched by all your sweet feedback and support. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you, guys.